All right, so let's get on to brainstorming techniques. So now you're ready to start brainstorming for your memoir. Now, first things first, understand that brainstorming is like a treasure hunt. You're on this mission to uncover all the gems and the hidden treasures and the gold nuggets that will make your memoir shine. It's a process of exploration, discovery, and uncovering the unexpected. Now, let's talk about some brainstorming techniques that can help you on your journey. So let's start with free writing. Now, this technique involves setting a timer for a certain amount of time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then writing whatever comes to your mind without stopping or editing. The goal is just to keep the pen moving, or in case of typing, keep your fingers moving, even if it doesn't make any sense to you. The whole goal of doing this is to kind of override that mental critic, the inside voice that wants to control things and to do things the way it thinks. But you can actually, through free writing, just totally overrule it as long as you keep the pen moving, and the thoughts will crush through at some point of nonsense. The sense will show up. So it's a really good technique, and especially if you start feeling like you don't know where to start, or you feel like you have some writer's block, free writing is a wonderful technique to use. So next, we're going to move on to mind mapping. Now, this technique involves starting with a central idea or a theme, like childhood memories or career milestones, and then branching into sub-themes and related ideas. Now, our goal here is to create a visual representation of your ideas and to see what the connections and relationships are between the different aspects of your life story. So for example, let's say childhood memories, let's say that, you start here and you want to start with your childhood memories. You might say, I have my childhood years, my preteen years, my teenage years, and then from there, you want to niche down into the sub topics. So let's say in your teenage years, you may say, there's a couple different aspects of your teenage years. You could talk about your education or your dating life or your best friends. From that, if you went into your dating life, you could say, I've got all of these little topics here where it was your first breakup, your first makeup, your first, anything first. But the whole thing is, once you have created your bigger topics, and then you niche down into your subtopics for each thing, you'll visually be able to see your whole life, and you will be able to see the things that you remember. And it's those things that usually the things you remember are where most of your life experiences are. And you'll kind of, there's a lot of things right here, not so many things here. So you don't want to discount the things that don't have a lot of things, but you really do want to focus on where all of the action is, because there's usually some great stories in there. Now, if it's something that is not different or unique from the others, you may want to, go down that rabbit hole of some other areas. Maybe you go into career milestones and you subtopic those down until you realize, ooh, I've got a great story here, because, I started out in, maybe fast food, and then you ended up as the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. That's definitely a unique story, because not everybody does that. So as you see your entire life in mind mapping, you should be able to really get some great brainstorming of what your focus should be. So let's move on to listing. Now, listing is pretty easy. It's kind of, the first method of brainstorming that a lot of people already know how to do. It's a really good one. It may not get you as deep in, but it's a great place to start. So this technique involves creating a list of ideas, of memories or themes that are related to your memoir. The goal here is to generate just as many ideas as possible without worrying about their order or organizing it at all. The idea is to get everything down on paper and then to sort it out later. So literally just, sometimes when I'm doing this, I'll think of overcomer list, these are all the things that I've survived. These are all the things that tried to crush me but didn't. When you do lists, it really can spur a lot of other ideas because you forget how awesome you are. So don't forget it. Make sure that you have your list. Start with an overcomer list especially. The next method that we're going to talk about is interviewing. Now, interviewing is kind of interesting because this technique involves interviewing yourself and others about your life experiences. So the goal here is to ask open-ended questions that encourage reflection and exploration, and to use those answers to kind of start your memoir. When you interview yourself, it may be kind of awkward. So what you really want to do is write it down. Ask yourself the questions in writing, and then allow yourself the time to reflect and answer those questions. When you answer those questions, you're going to find a lot of content that you're going to be able to share that will be uniquely yours. And then in interviewing other people about you, obviously you want to interview people who know you, but they don't have to know everything about you, because sometimes it's interviewing the other people who have a whole different perspective of what happened. Maybe let's say your first failed test, your friend may remember that you were mad, but what you remember is how crushed and disappointed and how much of a failure, what they see versus what you see are often two entirely different things. So it's really good to get their perspective, whoever they is, as well as your own. So interviewing, it may feel awkward, but push through the awkwardness, because this is where the good stuff comes from. All right, so now let's talk about visual prompts. This technique of brainstorming involves using visual prompts like photographs, artwork, or physical objects as a starting point for your memoir. The goal here is to use these visuals as a jumping off point for your memories and ideas, and to explore the connections and relationships between them. So for example, here, what you could do is open a photo album if you have one, or go through photos, if you're of the era that you don't have the photo albums anymore. But just start going through photos, and those emotions should stir up in you, whether that's a memory of, your dad taking you fishing, or, the birth of your first child, whatever it is, those pictures should spur an emotional reaction that then will spur you into writing more of your memoir. All right, so the next technique we're going to talk about is using prompts. Now, sometimes it can be helpful to have a specific prompt guide you in your brainstorming. Now, you might choose a prompt like the moment that changed the rest of my life, or the biggest risk I ever took was, and, maybe the person who shaped me the most was. And by starting there, it kind of triggers your memory to take it into the deeper stories. So when you do this as a prompt, it helps you write small stories that could become bigger stories. This is one of the methods that we provide in our I Remember When project, where basically if you're not focused on your own course already, you don't already have a focus of your memoir, that you can use the daily prompt to help inspire you and help you through your brainstorming. Now, if you're interested in that, you can probably find that in the comments below or in the description. And don't hesitate to reach out and definitely join the writing community. It is a free group and we welcome you there. But prompts are a big thing that a lot of people, especially writers, really rely on, because sometimes you just need that little bit of spur to get the creative juices flowing. Okay, so the next method we're going to talk about is collaboration. Collaborating with others is a form of brainstorming where others can actually be a great way to help generate new, fresh ideas and perspectives. You can find a writing partner, a writing group, or collaborate with a friend or family member to bounce ideas off of each other to see where the combined creativity takes you. Now, in this, it doesn't even have to be something that the other person has the same vision as you or anything. Sometimes all you need is one little bit of a different perspective for you to take a story from here to here. It really is that easy. So never underestimate the power of collaboration. It is vital, and having a membership or being part of a writing group is vital. Now, the next technique we're going to talk about, take breaks. Now, this is going to seem a little bit counterproductive. I struggle with this one myself, to be honest. But sometimes stepping away from your brainstorming can be just as productive as diving in. So take breaks as needed to give your mind a chance to rest and recharge. Go for a walk, take a nap, or do something else that helps you relax and clears your mind. You might be surprised at the new ideas that come to you when you return to your brainstorming later. Now, that said, short breaks or reasonable breaks, but make sure you do come back. It's a balance that's hard to find for some people, but there's relax, take breaks, and then self-discipline enough to bring you back. And finally, keep an open mind. Remember that the most important part of brainstorming is keeping an open mind. Don't judge or censor your ideas as they come to you. Embrace the unexpected, the weird, the surprising. You never know what might turn out to be a gem that unlocks your memoir's potential. Literally, anything that comes to your mind, write it down, accept it. Judge it later if you choose to, but as it's flowing, just write it down and keep it. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the brainstorming techniques. It can be a little bit new, a little bit uncomfortable at times, but remember that the key to successful brainstorming is to keep an open mind, embrace the unexpected. Don't be afraid to explore the new ideas and try new techniques and push beyond your comfort zone. Your memoir is waiting for you to write it, and your brainstorming journey is just the beginning. So get out there, have fun, and let your creativity soar.